This one's canon.
This one's canon now. The other one was like...
We had a two-parter last time. Like, you couldn't get more canon than a two-parter.
It's true.
I literally just finished off watching the second episode while I was playing Best of Three. I was literally just listening to you guys chat around.
Oh, bless you.
I can't believe that people watch and enjoy the podcast.
Oh,
it's really silly.
But it's good, and I think it's also because you have fun on the podcast. You guys do as well.
You know, before we on this part, when we get the streamers starting, me and Barrett usually just talk absolute nonsense. In order to encourage that bit of nonsense, last week we made a theme song. Do we need to create like an ending theme song?
Outro.
And like an outro. I don't know what do you want to do for this silly little intro?
Oh, so are you trying to say? Are you trying to imply that this episode is like the theme tune's the remix of the last one because it's like guest starring?
This is one of those crossover episodes, isn't it? Because like
exactly,
you know, it's like
featuring.
Yeah, it's like when animes do crossover, like, you know, Naruto's teaming up with Goku for some unknown reason.
To be honest, we were already a coalition party, so you know.
We're already a coalition party.
But we were used to it then. The collabs are just a second nature thing now, apparently.
This must be suppressed.
I forgot about being suppressed.
Oh dear.
If there's a few things we like on this podcast, one of them is being suppressed.
It's being suppressed. That's a very old joke that I said to Barrett like 6 episodes ago.
I don't even think it was, bro.
Was it not? I don't remember saying it at all.
I think it was last week. But it does feel like forever.
It feels like forever, honestly. It's weird, isn't it, how time works? I think we were all saying as well, like, time zones suck, but also times itself. Yes. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the... What did I say it like it's an episode of Countdown or like Question Time?
Countdown would be really good.
No, I can't.
That would be one intro one day. Like,
yeah.
I mean, to be fair, we could do a Pokemon game where it's like, you know, with the select letters, you now have to build a team. Can I have a vowel? Like, can I build a team with this letter?
I have a P, an S, a Y. No, I see what he's doing. No.
Just the DD's just like crawling towards the stage. Just not even crawling, sorry. Just creeping towards, like tiptoeing. So I see what you're doing. Right, let's try again, shall we? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the London Corviknights podcast with myself, Iron Hands' least favourite cousin, Iron Mac. And with me is my wonderful co-host, Fluttermane's jealous brother, Barrett C9.
Hey, how you doing, everyone?
But it's not just us today, believe it or not. What? We have a special guest. We are joined by the absolute wonderful Captain Oro. Captain Oro is with us tonight. Welcome, Captain Oro. My captain, my captain.
Thank you very much for having me on. I'm really excited for tonight.
Oh, dude, no, please. It's an absolute pleasure to have you on. We've been absolutely wanting to have guests on, and honestly, you were like one of the first 3 people that came to mind. It was literally, yeah, we need Captain Aura on. So no, honestly, thank you for giving us some of your time to join us tonight. I would just like to ask firstly how we all are. The weather has been a bit scorching, if I say it myself.
It's been a great day to lay down doing the bare minimum. You can't just do nothing, but the bare minimum.
The bare minimum. How are you feeling, Captain Aura? How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm good. I had a half day at work, so half day, loved it. Went out for a walk. So I did actually go out in the sun. It was scorching hot.
Nice.
So I'm probably going to be a different shade tomorrow because my skin just goes absolutely red.
Yeah, I was did actually remember my other half did that during the weekend, and her shoulders are absolute red as anything. And she's like, no, it will tan eventually. And I was like, yeah, eventually. But no, I'm not bad. I was a bit like Barrett. I was very much just like, it's too hot to do anything. I'm just gonna lie on the floor, and if my work needs me, they can ring me. But I did have a little laugh about the fact that it was actually quite warm, because I thought, like, Groudon must be loving this. Like this heat, because then I kind of realized him saying drought kind of sounds like doubt, and then immediately got into the LA Noir meme of, you know, press X for
wait. Yeah,
like,
he kind of is that meme.
Yeah. So instead of pressing X for doubt, you press X for drought. And, like, this is really convoluted, I know. But, like...
He's still the exact same meme. Like, he's got the same facial expression.
Yeah.
It's just press X for drought.
Yeah, press X for drought. And Groudon's on the top of a hill, like The Sound of Music. arms spread out, and he's just watching this sun just beam down on everyone. Yeah, that was my wacky thought of the day. I'm not gonna lie.
I have been kind of brainwormed by every single time the weather changes dramatically from one way to another, which is like every day now. It does kind of. I do kind of be a bit like, oh, it's weather was outside.
Yeah, exactly. I'm thoroughly looking forward to like Kyogre just appearing anytime now, and then you just have that little old lady at the end of your road just being like, the weather is ridiculous. Walks back in, big coat, comes back out, sunny. But yes, we've got a lot to talk about tonight, actually, including our special segment with Captain Oro as our guest tonight. However, before we even do that, I need to give you the results of last week's poll. Because last week, if you do not remember, we actually did the roundtable discussion about which is the worst legendary, in which I do have to say, Captain Oro, I really appreciated your massive list of legendaries that you provided.
I just saw everyone else contributing, and I was like, I want to add into it. And I was like, I'm at work, so I'm just going to quickly type a list of the ones I hate the most. And I was like, those are the ones. And to be fair, I think Kanto Moltres is just, ugh.
It does make your brain hurt, doesn't it? If you're a fire type and your most suitable environment is in rain, your purpose is automatically null and voided.
The other problem from a VGC side, we now can't have a go at Articuno because it's one of regional.
Yes.
And Zapdos is just meta all the time. Like, it always pops up every so often, and someone's like, oh, there's the Zapdos again. It does well.
I love Zapdos. Zapdos is amazing. I love Zapdos. I use Zapdos a lot in Generation 8. Like, it was one of the best Dynamax Pokemon, arguably.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I love Zapdos. Stick on their safety goggles on that, and people were absolutely having nightmares. But yeah, like you mentioned, Articuno actually won something this year. Moltres is there sitting there with popcorn.
What is its thing got to be just to be good? Do you know what I mean? Like, you could give terrestrialization and like a snow buff to Articuno, that, you know, an ice type, one of the worst types ever, and then they go, but the fire type, it's still not good enough. Even with Dynamax, even with terrestrialization, it's still not good enough. What could possibly make it good enough?
Oh, I've got it. Give it a regional form.
Oh wait, that actually did work. Sorry, I forgot that.
Which, funny enough, made the other two worse.
Like
it balances it out. Yeah, it could take it from one hand. No, we'll never touch them again. That's it.
I was so miffed when I found out Zapdos was fighting flying. I was like, why? It's
still okay, just not quite.
You can't beat perfection. The Articuno one was a cool design, weird idea. Last week, of course, we did do the discussion about the worst legendary Pokemon. We went through quite a list. You can watch that on YouTube, by the way. Barrett has uploaded it in 2 parts. We're going to be doing that going forward as well. We're going to be uploading our episodes in 2 parts, not only to make it easier for you to digest, but Barrett gets annoyed when we go over 2 hours, so I need to help him not.
It does help. Although I will say the episode did not go up on time here. It did in America, though.
It did in America, so that counts. The last thing I want to do is give Barrett a normal gem and teach him Explosion. So
we haven't tried that yet.
We haven't tried that. We're not doing that. We're not trying. Yeah, we went through a list of 12 Pokemon. We narrowed it down to 5, which were the Lake Trio as a whole, or as we called it, Story Waste of Time, Cobalion, or Rubbish Station, Silvally, I Wish I Was Arceus, Monkey Dory, Fake Crash Fluttermane, and Kanto Moltres, I'm Best in Rain. So those were the 5 that you could vote for to see who was winner of the poll of Worst Legendary. I'm now going to actually just tell you the order. So in last place with only 2 votes was actually Cobalion.
Oh.
So Cobalion didn't get many votes at all. And then we have a joint 3rd place between Silvally and Kanto Moltres. Which, I was in 2nd place, Monkey Dory. Monkey Dory took 2nd place. So the winner, by a whopping 15 votes to 9, was the Lake Trio.
They got enough for everyone.
Yeah. So everyone agrees, the Lake Trio, you're a waste of time.
They just got so much hate because they had a better Pokemon that was the same typing that did the same thing in the same gen.
Right. I literally I remember Barrett uploaded it, and I was listening to it this afternoon, and I was thinking to myself, what arguments did we make about it? And it was like, oh yeah, Cresselia. It's so weird to think that, you know, in that development meeting, when they were making Gen 4, when they were making Diamond and Pearl, and they were like, we need a psychic type with Levitate. And they're like, should we add 3 more? Actually, Captain, I'll be interested to hear your opinion. If you could change the Lake Trio's typing, because we were talking about the fact that they're part of, they're called the Lake Trio, right? So we thought, you know, water would have been more appropriate. What typing would you have given them?
They're just base psychic, aren't they?
Yeah, they're literally just base psychic.
Yeah. No, because then it would be following the Tapus a bit much. And obviously it wasn't introduced until, I was going to say Fairy.
Yeah.
That wasn't introduced for a long time. So, yeah, I mean, Lake Trio makes sense, water, but surely, like you do with the other trios, is you give them all different typing.
Yeah.
You know, and you give them different skill set and move set, so it kind of has a little bit different.
Oh my god, what if you made one of them dark? Like, there's one that's all very, like, whimsical and happy. There's another one which is, like, chill and mellow, and there's the third one where it's like, get out of my cave.
Well,
like,
they kind of are.
Get out.
Like, they are all supposed to represent different things as well. So having that represented as even if they were, like, psychic and this other type, like, you know, having a, you know, the one that was, like, supposed to be, what is it, like, vitality or something like that. That could be like a fighting type as well. You know? Just like a good special attacking psychic.
Psychic?
Yeah.
Viking?
Yeah.
Viking type? Oh, hello.
Just gets out his big axe and just goes,
just out, like, the Lake Trio can't even bother to use their levitate ability, just out comes this massive Viking boat. But yes, congratulations to the Lake Trio. You are officially the worst legendary Pokemon that the London Corviknights have voted for. Congratulations, I guess.
It's quite funny to think that the way that the VGC community gauges what the worst thing is, I feel like is literally about how useless they feel like it is, because Cresselia is so much better. It's nothing to do with the designs or anything like that. Nothing. They just went, no, they're useless. And I think I believe that as well.
I actually agree with the fact that they should have at least been water psychic, grass psychic. I was going along with water grass, water electric, and maybe like water something else. Maybe I think water steel might be a bit too OP for a Lake Guardian. You know, to have that water steel with a levitate ability might actually be a bit overpowered. But then, you know, we're in Gen 9 and overpowered seems to be a normalized word these days.
The idea of what used to be too good is a faded memory now.
If Wolf Glick comes out and he's like, 125 special attack is all right. Anything is possible these days. But yes, Lake Trio, congratulations. You're rubbish. Moving on. What is your Pokemon of the week?
Okay, guys. Well, today the Pokemon of the week is
You're right.
Let me just get the doc. It's right here somewhere. Give me 1 second, and I will. Can't quite seem to find. Okay, yeah, cool. Regigigas. Yeah, Regigigas. Yes, Regigigas is the normal type Pokemon, legendary type Pokemon discovered in the Sinnoh region.
Hang on, Barrett. I feel like you're struggling.
Yeah.
I've got something that might help you. Hang on.
Oh, is it? Okay. Sorry, guys. 1 sec. I'll probably edit this. Or something.
I'm sorry. It's just you seem like you're struggling a little bit, so I don't know if I put up some neutralizing gas.
Oh, is it now? Oh, look at him!
Right.
Oh, yeah, cool, man. Yeah.
Does that help you out?
Better. Yeah, cool, man. So Regigigas is the normal type legendary Pokemon discovered in the Sinnoh region. In spite of this, Regigigas is the 4th member of the Regi group founded in the Hoenn region. With the base stat total so high it rivals restricted legends, surely Regigigas is a force to be reckoned with. Base 160 attack is some of the highest of any Pokemon, without any stats wasted in any of his other base stats. Surely Regigigas is one of the best Pokemon in the game, right? Oh, no, but kinda. As everyone knows, Regigigas' only ability is Slow Start, which halves the owner's attack and speed for the 5 turns upon entering the field. That's right. This ability resets when switching out. Because of this, Regigigas didn't see much usage in early VGC. However, it did see some use as a bulky support mon in 2018, utilising moves like Y-Guard, Icy Wind, Knockoff, and Toxic. But things all changed for Regigigas when Generation 8 came along and introduced its 2 best friends, Weezing and Dynamax. During Generation 8, Wheezing and its new Galarian counterpart gained access to the brand new Neutralizing Gas ability, which rendered almost all abilities inactive while it was on the field. As soon as Neutralizing Gas was added to the game, players instantly recognised the synergy that it had with Regigigas, being able to turn off Slow Start and allow for Regigigas to begin the battle at full potential. As if that wasn't enough, with the introduction of Dynamax, the additional effects of max moves, Regigigas was able to always Dynamax turn 1 and start laying down powerful max strikes to take out their opponent with stab high base damage and also lower their allies' speed in the process. This could allow for a well-trained Weezing to get off an important support move like a Will-O-Wisp before their opponent, thanks to the newly adjusted dynamic speed. With this in mind, it isn't surprising to see Regigigas finding some usage on the in-game ladder, as well as hitting second place during Players' Cup 2. With Dynamax now a thing of the past, is Regigigas done for? Well, kinda. With the passive buff that Dynamax provide gone now, Regigigas has struggled to find its place in the meta, but still found some use with its old utility support set. After all, being a normal type with access to Wide Guard is great, especially with that kind of bulk. It just isn't taking the care as it used to be. Probably because Neutralizing Gas tends to negatively affect your own party a little bit more now that Dynamax isn't there to be such an overwhelming presence. With the adoption of the ability shield, still hasn't really helped with Weezing get onto the teams as much, so Regigigas has struggled to being added in as well. So there we have it, Regigigas. Some might say he's a false legend, but we remember how legendary it's been. And how it also might be the worst.
Very well put. I love the comments here where it's Kai just screaming buff it immediately.
Buff it immediately.
You're really, really right in the fact that, you know, Regigigas Generation 8, I mean, we all remember the Players' Cup shenanigans with Regigigas. We want, you know, slow start to turn into fast start.
Fast start where it's just in the sprinter's position.
Like, get him in the sprinter's position. But also, lovely little cameo by coughing. So, right. Last bit of the podcast tonight is the ongoing conversations regarding the state of Pokemon going forward. We mentioned this last week. Once again, thank you, Captain Oro, providing us with the information last Tuesday so we can actually talk about it. We've had I would say, some slight developments, but at the same time, I feel like we do need to state this again. The only thing we've had confirmed, they've created a new portal where the new structure of Pokemon video game local tournaments in leagues is confirmed. Please correct me if I'm wrong, anyone, but I believe we are still waiting on actual documentation to come out to tell us the exact rules of what's going to happen. Is that right?
As far as I can see.
Yeah.
Same. I haven't really seen anything that actually confirms or denies any of the speculation we've been seeing, but we can go over some of that at least. So people got some kind of warning, I suppose.
Yeah, so what I've got up on the screen at the moment is basically Victory Road has provided a link to a website that the Pokemon Company has put together. I have never seen a store look this nice. I just want to point that out right now. Like, which TCG store has this much space? Every TCG store I've ever been to is like, you know, you can fit about 3 or 4 people in.
Yeah, look at all them tables. Like, that is never going to happen.
Like, where are you getting this from?
Behind that chair.
Yeah, literally, it's like, oh my god, the amount of space here is so nice. Like, I want to move in.
One of those pictures is from the Pokemon Discovery Labs that you have at EUIC and NUIC.
Oh, that is so funny.
You can see it, the info one.
Wow.
Yeah.
I've only just realised
Yeah,
that.
actually, no, you're right. Yeah, that is oh, wow. Okay. That feels like, you know, false advertising, Play Pokemon. What are you doing?
It's like
you could even go to a shop and be like, can we have a look at your tables? Unfortunately, I feel like the plans going forward, as we discussed last week, this isn't just like a British thing. This is a worldwide thing. It's happening everywhere from America to Europe to Asia. I feel like I'm going to do that Looney Tunes song where he talks about all the countries. I'm not doing that. But we have had some... I don't know whether to say, like, we've had some further developments, but I think we've had some opinions, if you will, from the Pokemon community about the changes that are being proposed, or, well, not proposed anymore, the changes that are apparently going to happen, which I feel like we can have a quick conversation about. I feel like our opinions, though, in general, haven't changed since last week. I feel like us three, we've talked about this quite a bit, and I feel like all three of us are still in that boat of we are not happy about what's happening.
they're moving a bit faster than I expected. It seems like people have managed to get themselves set up a little bit already.
I would agree with that. Like, the TOs have done an absolutely fantastic job since getting this news with very, very short notice saying, hey, we're starting in July. And by the way, we're effectively saying if you weren't set up in a card shop or affiliated with a card shop league, then your venue is now just closed down.
Yes.
Like, that's effectively what they've said, and the TOs have done a kind of fantastic response in terms of going out and speaking to card shops. I know a few TOs who have turned around and effectively said, I've gone to every card shop, and they've said no.
Yeah, that was a point I was going to make as well. My local scene, they have, I mean, we're kind of lucky in the fact that my local has already got a TO and it's also already a TCG affiliated Pokemon store, so they run all sort of Pokemon events anyway. I think literally the only thing they don't do is Unite, which honestly would actually be quite funny. There was tweets already from various people saying, like, I've already spoken to card shop owners who are affiliated with the Pokemon company, have already said no, they have no interest in putting this together for VGC. Their only interested is TCG. They've got no interest in setting up VGC. They don't have any desire to do that whatsoever. They have no plans doing that going forward. They are well within their right to do so. Just to point that out. You can't say yes to everything. Like, I still feel as though we've been given the short end of the stick. Like, I feel like we are still going one step forward, 5 step back, maybe.
Well, I think that the idea of them putting it in the hands of the trading card stores kind of incentivizes them in the future to, if they don't want to do it now, to try to at least start trying to do it. It kind of implies that they're going to try and push these companies to try to do these. Otherwise, there's no point, is there? If they can't incentivize the shops to do them, then they have to move back to the old system. But I have to believe in some way that the only reason they've made this decision is because there's another example of something somewhere else like this where they said it looked bad, but it actually did work out really, really well in the end. I don't know. I feel like I just got to trust them on this at the moment.
Before I throw it over to Captain, I just want to point out, Kai, yes, Swede is exactly right. Yes and no is basically the answer to your question. Will the League Cup challenge make VGC harder to be a part of? Yes and no, unfortunately, is the answer to that.
It depends where you live, I suppose, but it was like that already.
Yeah, sorry, Captain Ori, go ahead. What were you going to say?
I think it's a touch point we've all spoke about, is that TPCI have handed everyone the short notice, the lack of clarity, the lack of responsibility. It's kind of like a little bit, I've been quite forward in saying, and I did call them out when I tweeted them out, I said they need to do better. I think it's very negligent. I don't think they've looked into the care of the people that look to run these events and the players who want to be involved in their community. Now, obviously, we are all going to have to deal with it for the meantime because it is going to go ahead. But I think the most important thing is kind of once we get into a position and we reassess it as a group of players, if we feel it is not suitable for us as a VGC scene, we need to make our voices heard and we need to make sure they understand that as a kind of community. Unfortunately, historically, with some gaming companies, and I would say majority of gaming companies, they'll kind of sit to their own model and won't shift, which is the difficult thing for everyone to hear, because you would hope if you had negative feedback, you would react and try and change some stuff. So yeah, I think it's just the fact that we've had zero clarity on it that's kind of really annoyed me. If they had told me this 6 months ago and we gone, okay, these changes are going to happen, and that gave the TOs enough time to persuade the card stores to do this and that, or there was a work around it that the TPCI and the TOs could agree on, yes, it'd be fantastic. And I think a great example of what I'm talking about clarity is on the screen. We don't know if this is actually fact or not. We don't know the format, the layout, the CP payout. The basis that we can go off of is treating it like the TCG version, because TCG have the current format that we're moving into. So that would be the best basis to kind of go, that's probably the most correct way they're going to go about it. And then it accompanies with rumours around how Worlds invites for next season are going to be handled as well, which is obviously a lot of people want to qualify for Worlds.
Yeah, of course.
It is a worrying point, isn't it, though? But I think the key point you mentioned there is the fact that, like, yeah, this is all rumours at the moment. So anything we say going forward is rumoured until further notice. I was listening to the Little Root Lesson podcast this afternoon, and they brought this up briefly at the beginning. Also, shout out to Little Root Lessons, fantastic group of people. But they mentioned as well, just sort of once again, the TOs doing an amazing job to try and get the VGC scene in the same state as it was before this news came out. Obviously, I want to hear some good news about Orpington. Hopefully, there is some good news to come out from that, because I know that it was a pretty big scene. So I'm hoping to hear some good news about that. Please let us know if you do have any good news going forward, and I would like to talk about it on the podcast. They were mentioning on the podcast about the fact that they can set up these events, but the people will still because of course you have to sort of a pre-registration. You have to sign up in order to be in these events. Even if you pre-sign up and you turn up, not everyone is actually going to turn up, are they? There might be some spaces left from people who have pre-signed up but haven't turned up, so then the event might get cancelled, which is going to be a problem, especially for people who have traveled quite a bit. My local is an hour and 15 minutes away. I have to go to the right of the edge of Sussex in order to go to a local. There is literally nothing around me for a good hour, because like I mentioned earlier, no one wants to do it. People are well within their right not to do it. Also, hello, Almost Good Enough Gaming, how are you? I know that's less than most, but some people's travel. But I'm just saying, the accessibility is not good enough. I think that's my argument, basically.
And I think also the other thing is, obviously, if you do look at the League Cup in TCG,
yes,
was it I haven't got my head around the new titles yet. They don't play any top cut. It's just Swiss rounds.
Oh yes, no, I heard. Yeah, you mentioned this, and I was like, "Are you kidding me?"
It's just Swiss rounds. So you could be potentially traveling quite a while, like yourself, to just play a few Swiss rounds.
Yeah.
And not really. And the thing is, what I don't think they've kind of maybe anticipated, and this is maybe why they're holding off on information, because they're adjusting it for VGC as a whole. But usually when I'm at an event, because the place I go to has TCG running alongside, and the two TOs are really good at running it. TCG is obviously on a lot longer than we are.
Yeah. I just want to bring us to the following tweets that we've come across this past week. Obviously, all of these are rumors, so bear in mind. This one annoyed me, but also tickled me a little bit, because Barrett's most annoying thing at the moment is open nature team sheet, and this one here is basically saying there is no PCs or MSSs. There will be free online tournaments during the year. Top 64 players from each will qualify for a national tournament. Again, is what? The tournament will be double elimination, best of one closed team sheet until top 8, and then best of 3 open team sheet. Top 16 will qualify for Worlds. I don't like that at all. I think that's rubbish.
That's so
and then Natures will be on team sheets, but Terrors will not. And if you've seen this podcast from a couple of episodes ago, you will know Barrett is not a fan of this.
What?
If you're open nature.
The funny thing is, I think if it was all open nature all the time, it wouldn't be that weird. But it's just the fact that they've gone, we'll do it now for some reason. Just some people will have it, some people won't. I just don't get it. And the closed terror thing is even weirder. If that ends up being true, then the only reason I will accept that they've closed terror on the team sheet is because there isn't any, and that's literally it.
Yeah.
They just go, this year no terror.
It is possible, though. It is possible.
It's possible. 4 months could be.
I mean, just to bring back to the previous conversation, Swede has mentioned that the Swiss rounds will have a top cut.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Apparently. The next one I've got here, I believe this was similar to what you said, Captain Oro, about sending in a ticket and them actually getting a response.
So this one looks like they've actually sent a ticket in and then got a response saying, hey, there's not going to be any top cut moving forward with League Challengers. So it's League Challengers, sorry, that are the one that's replacing the Pokemon Challenge, Professor Challengers. I don't even know what they're called. I call them PCs all the time.
They're PCs, yeah.
But yeah, so they're saying on these ones that there's no top cut. But again, like we've said, take this stuff with all a pinch of salt because it's not confirmed. Stuff could change by the time we get round to it. There are obviously people doing the meme thing as well, you know, like saying, hey, this is what it's going to be as a joke. And it's kind of like, okay, that's fine, I understand. But Pokemon have created that space for that to be a meme now, so...
Oh, yeah. Good point.
Yeah. I mean, again, this just doesn't sound great. There was this meme that was posted by Damo, you know, local starting July the 1st, me excited to grow my local scene even more next season, and then just like, the Pokemon company's just gonna just hold me back a little bit. Like... It's tragic. if it's true. Oh, this was the interesting one, actually. This thread or series of tweets actually came from Pika Chupel. I don't know how you're supposed to pronounce that. I'm so sorry if I butchered it. I do apologize. They are a judge who do quite a few events, who has shared their opinion about this whole thing that's going forward. They represent France. They have experience in both, competing but also judging events. It's a very, very detailed list of opinions. I do recommend giving this a read, though, if you want to. The fact that they are not happy about the proposed changes as well. I do remember them saying, like, they don't believe it's healthy for the Pokemon scene. Chupi, thank you so much. I feel like an idiot with names, I really do.
Oh, it's hard.
It's so hard.
Especially online.
Right? Yeah, they're basically saying the same thing of the fact that, they don't think it's going to be healthy for Pokemon going forward, and it's not going to be healthy for community members, players, even the Pokemon company. The optimism is still there, which obviously is great, because I feel like all of us need some optimism going forward.
Yeah, I think it's valuable that we get these viewpoints from people in these positions, because players, we will all see things differently. A lot of us, if we play predominantly online and things like that, we don't really understand the full picture of this and the full scope. So it's important, I think, for us as a community to be able to listen to these voices and get their perspective on things.
Yeah, Almost Good Enough Gaming's actually I was going to save this to last, but I feel like we might as well just talk about it now. I feel like this is slightly elitist.
Yeah.
Like, if you've got the money,
yeah,
you could go to these events, you could do all this. It is taking away opportunities for people. I don't agree with it. I really don't. I'm always open for, like, giving people as many opportunities as possible. I understand. It's weird. I do understand where Pokemon's coming from, but at the same time, I don't agree with it.
It's why I kind of got annoyed with it. Like, like I've said to you guys, I'm in a good position where we have the card shop set up already for our VGC leagues. So I know I'm going to be fine. Like, that's the state of thing. They're 30 minutes down the road. I'm fine. I was straight away like, this is terrible for everyone else. The fact that I know certain places that I've been to for locals or heard other people go to, they're gone. They're just completely gone off the map now. And it's people who have put time and effort into this game that we don't get paid for.
Yeah.
And it's really disheartening for those people who have then had to double down and put in the effort to kind of fix the errors of a company.
I 100% agree. Just to clarify, just to show a bit of balance in this argument, we do have a couple of tweets from people who are supporting this. Like, we're not going to just bash it. We're going to show you the other side of this conversation. I mean, this GIF below just sort of sums my whole thoughts up completely. Nate here was saying, I'm eagerly awaiting more information, but at face value, doing away with the CP bar and limiting world invites by only opening a set number of slots sounds like a pretty exciting change. This makes Worlds a much more prestigious event and the qualification chase far more intense. I think that's a valid point. But again, the argument that you're taking away opportunities, the elitism kicks in, basically.
Yeah, exactly. Just step back for a second and realise that what they're basically saying is, I like it when I'm good enough and rich enough to be able to compete at these giant events where everyone will look at me when I'm on the world stage, but basically no one else is allowed to do it. That's just pathetic. That's just ridiculous. I'm sorry. I was willing to be open-minded about that until I realised what they were saying. And they're basically going, no, actually, I'd like Worlds to be a lovely, prestigious thing for me and my good friends. It's like I don't have to pay for a travel award, or I shouldn't have to register because I've already got X amount of CP or whatever to this event. No, dude. The whole point is it's supposed to be exactly the same. In fact, I'll have you know, the Pokemon actually is a communistic society.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
They don't even care about money that much. They're just giving it away.
We've unleashed the Barrett.
Have you know.
We've unleashed Barrett.
The thing I would say on it, though, is if you're wanting to create a prestigious event, you need to have players that draw in the audience. And
yes.
Exactly.
If I'm honest, yes, we are an esport. We are, I believe, the 25th most paid out esport this year, which is incredible.
However, we're definitely top 30. I remember that.
If you are trying to draw in crowds to come and watch the game, you need players who will draw in and watch the game because their personalities, the way they do stuff, anything like that will then intrigue those people. Issue is the only two on the board are Cybertron and there's not enough to do this.
And then you've got, like, I'm not going to say names, but then you've got players who are trying to get to that level, but are currently, banned, Like you've got players who are represented by esports teams who are currently undergoing a ban at the moment for attitude problems. You've got other players who have been kicked out of tournaments because they were genning using the same ID, who are supposedly have big audiences. And it's kind of like, okay, yeah, like if you're going to do that, no one's going to take it seriously, which is why, you know, Cybertron and Wolfglick are kind of miles ahead of everyone, really, in my opinion. I still think players like, you know, Joe UX9, Moxie Boosted, like, they're going to get up there. Like, their content is fantastic.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, their angle and their position helps them in there, but they really did. They've been there for so long that they've done the grind for that now. I kind of think it makes sense. But for someone to just be able to come in and just drop, you know, a bunch of money and just be good at the game, like, we've kind of prided ourselves on not being able to do that for a really long time, and now you can. You know, it seems like it might be.
Just want to quickly just point out what chat has said as well. So we've got Almost Good Enough Gaming saying it cuts out the journey. Men and women who grind their locals and own one regional tour. Exactly fair. I want to say, like, while Europe especially had quite a variety of regionals, we could definitely do with a few more. In terms of, say, for example, Austria, you know, that sort of area of Europe could do with a bit more love. The UK only got one.
Yeah.
Which I'm not saying, obviously, you know, give us more, but I was kind of surprised places like Dublin never got one, because I thought an Irish regional was going to happen. I don't know if that's just me, like, but I thought a regional in Ireland would have been fantastic. I don't know about you, Captain.
I think, yeah, it would be nice to have more regionals across all parts of the globe, you know.
Yes.
I think my thing is, like, and again, this is taking it from the elite view. A lot of some people in the community believe that if you have gone to all your locals, earned all your points for your locals, and just gone to one regional, you should not qualify for Worlds. That is a load of bull. You have
that's a load of Taurus.
Invite. Yeah, Taurus. Thank you very much for correcting me. But that is, you have earned that invite. You have won those competitions to earn yourself there. They're saying that the players who've gone and done this are not as quality as the players who've gone into multiple regionals and earned their points that way. It doesn't matter to me. We're all on the same journey.
Exactly.
We all want to get to Worlds. And to be honest, anyone at Worlds saying they don't want to win Worlds, I think they're telling you a big fib. Everyone wants to win the elite competition of their sport. You know?
Oh yeah, I can understand. You know, obviously people want to win, and everyone's got their own means of doing so. And at the moment, doing locals is totally within the rules to be able to qualify for Worlds. And I mean, if people believe that they're not going to get that, you know, the quality caliber of players aren't as good, well, it doesn't really. I don't think that really affects the viewer experience at all.
No, really doesn't.
They're going to pick the matches anyway, so it doesn't really matter. And then when it comes down to the player experience, like, let's say there's how many people who can apply for Worlds and they actually get in, and there's like 10 people there who got their invites purely from locals. They're not exactly diluting the player pool here, for crying out loud, you know. Yeah. These players are still going to be good.
Yeah, Shortbread Dread has literally just polished your point, basically, by saying if the quality isn't good, then just beat them and stop complaining.
There you go, exactly. Like, what's the problem?
Yeah, absolutely, 100% true.
Every player knows that when you go to a regional, by round 4, let's say, you are playing the good players.
Yes.
So anything between round 1 and, 3 or 4, you could have a variety of players that you can play against. They could be very new players, they could be very experienced players. But you still have to beat what's in front of you.
Yeah. I feel like our job, especially when it comes to, like, us admins at the London Corviknights, I mean, this is just my opinion. I feel like my role is to encourage players, like, new or, like, people who kind of know what they're doing, like, to encourage them to explore VGC like in a more like wider lens. That's why we got like team building, that's why we got like tours. We like encourage people to be comfortable with what they want to do. Like, we encourage people to be comfortable in the environment that they're in. If we're then telling them, by the way, don't go to your local, don't go to your regional because it's going to be a waste of time, what am I doing? Like, what are we doing? It defeats the purpose of communities and groups coming together to be like, hey, go for it, you can do it, do your best. And instead we're supposed to be like, oh no, I don't think you'll be good enough for this regional yet. Don't go to this. Like, no, just stay at home and cry into a teapot. I don't know.
How is anyone ever realistically able to expect that they're going to be able to become a champion in something if they feel like the barrier to entry is so high that they're never going to get there. Like, I would not, as a kid, have picked up Pokemon if I knew that the amount of steps that I had to get into were going to be so strenuous just to even feel like I've accomplished anything.
Yeah.
You know, as a kid, you know, I don't know about like now or whatever like that. Obviously, we're all going to feel differently about these things, but I find it very weird that
it's very jarring.
It's almost they're trying to sell the idea that these Pokemon players who are going to be able to be at Worlds are like actually different to the everyday person. And I don't like that. So I'm sorry. I cannot possibly agree with any situation where they go, and this group of people, they're just better because of extenuating circumstances. It's got nothing to do with like your ability in the game. It's just like whether or not you could afford to get to the
exactly the high I got from qualifying for Players Cup 3. You should not be taking that level of adrenaline, that feeling that you feel like you've accomplished something away just because they can't afford it.
And I think we can all agree is like we've all spoke about getting involved in Pokemon at the pandemic. It was because the game had become more accessible.
Yes.
On the Switch, we had ranked ladder, we had better ways to EV. You could, the information on the internet was better. Like, it just had a better feel to it.
Yeah.
Like I said, me and my friends used to just battle on Pokemon Red, Pokemon Silver, but know nothing about VGC and the content. So it'd just be just playing against your mates. Whereas the whole reason why Pokemon has exploded is because of this kind of perfect storm of people having time off, able to learn the game, and also the game is actually really accessible. So then they followed suit for this season with their events, and then suddenly all of a sudden this season they've kind of seemed to have gone, oh, this is all too much, and gone, we need to pull it all back for some weird reason, and they haven't given us a rationale why they've done this, and that's where the clarity is.
Yes. Also,
missing.
Pokemon is supposed to be fun. Like,
yeah, of course.
Try and remember that, Game Freak. I feel like this argument could just be summed up as Gen 9 as a whole, because, like, you've got to remember the very first regional that Pokemon had, Disconnection Game 1, Round 1, and then there was like the mass amount of tweets that were saying apparently the Nintendo employee and a Game Freak employee was absolutely screaming at each other outside the venue for a good 20 minutes because they were trying to blame each other for the problem. Like, Gen 9 itself seems to be like a massive mess. We could talk about Gen 9 being a mess for forever, and I feel like we wouldn't even get close to solving the problem. The only thing I will point out is, like, obviously thank you everyone for putting your comments in the chat and sharing them. I do apologize if we didn't get round to speaking about your comments, but the last thing I'm going to mention about this is just a tweet that Tom Hayden made that Captain Oro shared, just saying, hot take, I like the changes I've heard. I thought it was broken you could get 480 out of 500 points at locals this season. BFL going from 6 to 4 helps the Wallet Warrior argument, right? Question mark. And 2 extra months of locals. I feel as though the argument about it's broken that you could get 480 points out of 500 points at locals this season.
Here's the thing, if they wanted to stop that, put a limiter on how many points you can have at local. And they kind of,
that's exactly what I was going to say.
That. They could have just, if they wanted to tweak these systems, they had the system in place. They just needed to tweak the rule sets around them to lower CP value at events that you get given, or certain things along the way.
Yeah.
I think the one thing, I don't know if you guys saw it, was when Wenty tweeted around the 4-person event that was held at my local. He said this shouldn't be going on. And
I did see that, yes.
Changes. And obviously I came back with a counter argument of saying this is how actually I think it should be, so that everyone has access,
I did see that.
And I think it just seems like they've reductioned everything around us so that it makes it a bit more difficult.
Yeah, honestly, I feel like you should not be punished for turning up to a 4-person event, even if it's only 4 people. If it's a sanctioned regional, if it's a sanctioned local, Pokemon has agreed to, they should go ahead and do the honourable thing and give you the points that you were due diligence for turning up. Like, it is not your fault for turning up. If they sanction it, they sanction it. That's the end of the conversation, really. And Almost Good Enough Gaming has actually also said, this is a good point as well, 480 of 500 is still not enough to qualify for Worlds. You will still need to go to a regional, at least a regional, in order to qualify. At the same time, you're still not allowing people to qualify for Worlds. It can happen. I've been to a few locals. I went 4 and 5 in Liverpool. I was 3 and 1 at one point. I haven't actually seen how much CP I actually got this year. That's kind of funny.
That sounds like something.
More than 5? That's the hope.
There you go.
More than 5, hopefully. I don't know. I might have a look later actually and see how many points I've got.
You never know.
You never know. If it's more than 10, I'm buying myself some Pokemon cards tonight, ladies and gentlemen.
Let's go.
I am treating myself. Obviously, this conversation is not going to go away anytime soon. We're going to be talking about it for God knows how long, well into the actual start of next season. I know it starts in July, but we're still going to be talking about this probably through to September, even when a few months come down the line and we fully understand what's going on. This is just something that's not going to go away, and like Captain Oro mentioned, we're going to have to accept this, but as a community we have to come together, support one another through this time, because it's going to affect people's mental health as well. The fact that the events that they were probably going to is now never going to happen again. It's a tough time all round, but I have faith in this community. I have faith in the people that we know and the people that we share the love with. You know, again, Swede, Shortbread Dread, yourself, Captain. Not Barrett. No, I'm joking.
No, it's fine.
Great. Now I'm the bad guy. Yeah, I have faith that we'll get through this stronger, and you know, we'll do really well whatever the situation may occur. I think it would be interesting to see how it affects Pokemon financially. I'll be interested to see sort of like, if you're restricting the amount, does that mean the cash revenue is going to go down?
It's a difficult one.
It is, isn't it?
VGC isn't the cash cow.
No, the cash cow is
Pokemon.
always TCG. Like last year, they made a good 2.5 billion, I think it was, from cards. So like the money is always going to come from the cards regardless.
But I mean, if without the game, cards aren't worth nothing, are they? What are they going to do? Just make Pokemon to put on cards? No, it ain't happening. No. It ain't happening.
Oh my god, the accent just came right through you
VGC
there.
doesn't need to technically exist. But...
the entry point for Pokemon is always the anime, right? So the animes built everything from it,
yes.
And then TCG, you get involved as a kid. I remember buying my first cards, and then you find out there's a game, and this is what Almost Good Enough Gaming described me when I first met him at UIC, is VGC is the show pony and TCG is the cash cow.
Yeah,
and
that is so true.
They're creating Go and Unite to become more show ponies because they understand some people don't want to sit there and watch TCG. So if they can get them involved in one of those other three,
they
and
will
get
buy
them
the
buying cards, that's where the money comes from.
I mean,
that does make sense.
Yes, because I remember EUIC last year. You know, obviously they had the stream for everything, right? So they had Unite, they had Go, they had VGC, they had TCG. TCG was always the lowest viewed stream because, like, it is a very slow pace, not a lot happening.
So strange. Like highest attendance, lowest viewed.
Yeah, it's so strange, isn't it? And then you see the actual decks, like the actual card worth of those decks. And it's like, oh, the average is between £250 to £300. I remember speaking to a judge in Liverpool when I handed in my final slip of the day. I gave it in and I was just like, just out of curiosity, how much do you think is worth over there in the TCG table, like right now? And he was like, easily a good, like, 200,000. Like, the amount of TCG players there were. Like,
makes sense, though. Dang.
It's crazy. But, like, yeah, no, Captain Aura is completely right. Like, the game is supposed to be a show pony, but at the moment that show pony has rubbed itself in the mud a bit too much. Like, is barking. It's not even a pony at this point. Like, what are you doing, Groundon? That's be a nice way of wrapping things up. I would like to thank everyone who has joined us tonight, and thank you once again to Captain Ori for actually joining us as a guest tonight. Hoodra forever, says Almost Good Enough Gaming.
Hoodra forever. Ambrose in the chat, guys. Ambrose in the chat. We got the whole interview. The whole interview, and I didn't say it once.
Ambrose, yeah. I knew that was going to crop up at one point. But thank you very much for having me. I was really looking forward to it. It's something different, but I really enjoyed talking to you guys. And as I said before we started, I think you've got a really fantastic podcast going on, and I love the dynamic between you two as well.
Thank you so much.
We're always love watching your streams and your content, even when we're lurking as well. Like, I'm always a big fan of watching you battle away and just being like, I wonder how he's doing, and then I see you like curse yourself, and I'm like, I'm
normally the other way around. I'm like, I wonder how is he doing it. I'll be watching a stream of yours one day, and I think, oh great, this is such a good position. This is amazing, and you go, oh, wasn't that good? And I'm like, what are you talking about?
That literally happened when we raided him.
Something, and I'm like, oh, totally didn't even understand that was about.
I remember it was one of the first streams we did on this channel, And Barrett was like, oh, let's raid Captain Aura. And I was like, yeah, let's do that. And we raided you, Captain. And I remember me and Barrett was sitting in a call still. Somebody got a crit on you and there was or something of a misplay. And Barrett was like, oh, yeah, I think he's got him here. Then the move happened and Barrett's just like, oh, no.
Everybody was like, no.
And it's like, I should stop talking.
The thing is, when I'm playing on my streams, because it's best of one ladder, I just know anything could happen. So
Literally.
I'm very open to it happening. But at the same time, when it happens, I'm still like, no!
Yeah, no, honestly, it's a horrible feeling. And I feel so horrible. Oh, no, I know what's going through his mind. But yes, thank you so much once again, Captain Aura, for joining us this week. I would like to formally announce that we are going to have a guest again next week. Believe it or not, we're having KD join us next Tuesday night, who is a prominent Dutch VGC player, nearly top cut in Liverpool actually as well. Like, everything happened in Liverpool this year. You could join our Discord, you can follow myself or Barrett on Twitch, you can also follow us on Twitter. Also, there is a link to the Pokemon support page that Captain Aura gave us last week. So if anyone wants to send in a ticket to the Pokemon Company regarding this change that's happening, please do so. Just remember to be constructive with your argument. If you just call them a bunch of names, it's never going to work. I think that is it, actually. I don't think there's anything else we need to cover, is there?
Unless, Captain Aura, you have anything you would like to plug before we finish?
Please plug.
Obviously, I'm on Twitch, as everyone's alluded to. I've also got YouTube, and I've got a Twitter where I will post stuff with my schedule or around VGC stuff, or just me generally replying to other people's stuff with GIFs, usually.
We'll probably put your social links in the YouTube episode anyway, so if anyone is watching this on YouTube. Also, do remember to like, share, and subscribe. Do join us next week. If we don't hear from you, obviously do have a smashing rest of your week. And also have a very good weekend. Thank you very much, Captain Aura, for joining us. I have been Iron Hands' least favourite cousin, Iron Mac. With me, as always, was Barrett C9, who has better hair than Fluttermane. I'm going to say that now.
Oh, no. Don't do that to Fluttermane. No.
I hope you all have a fantastic week and weekend. See you next week. Much love. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.